What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Coffeez for Closers. Today, we're going to dive deep into the heart of the mortgage industry. Our guest is a visionary leader whose recent strategic move has significantly reshaped the media landscape for the entire mortgage industry. He played a pivotal role in a major acquisition that combines a top mortgage magazine with a national news network, creating a powerhouse of industry news, webinars, and live events. Together, they reach over 160,000 professionals every single week, setting an entirely new standard into how mortgage news is delivered. Please join me in welcoming the head of engagement at American Business Media and the founder of National Mortgage Professionals Magazine. Welcome today, Mr. Andrew Berman.
Joe, thank you for that introduction. I appreciate that very much, very much.
Very much deserved, Andrew. And, I've been a fan of NMP magazine for, since I feel like over 10, 15 years since it started. What year did it start?
So it was 2009. 2009.
Yeah, I've been tracking that magazine ever since it started.
If you see the latest issue, I mean, the cover, can you beat that?
No, the cover was pretty good. I mean, we got to throw that on the throw that on the front. When we re-air this, we'll throw that on the front. But yeah, it's a great magazine and very informative. It continues to be a staple in the mortgage industry. I feel like you have 100% market share of the mortgage industry because you are the primary publication of any true value in the industry. And what an accomplishment to have that sort of market share.
Well, at least for those that are winning in the mortgage business and those who are aspiring to win, they're reading our publication.
Yeah, exactly. And full of insight, guys. If you're not watching that magazine or watching, because you also publish it, online. Yep. You have the video format of it, and then you have the written magazine. You have the digital print magazine. So people aren't in tune with what's going on with NMP magazine. They got to be reading that publication. Excellent publication. Excellent editors. So good job on that. Good job on continuing to always be at the forefront of the vision of the industry. Because one thing I really admire about what you're doing is you're always collaborating with other leaders within the mortgage sector.
Of course. That's one of my favorite things about what I do. I mean, so I came up with the title a few years ago as the head of engagement and outreach because really what I love doing, I love talking to leaders. I love actually, meeting with guys like you who actually are visionary leaders who have just this great story to tell and helping you share that story. I mean, obviously, what you've done, in creating actually your own format to be able to help not only tell your story, but get inside the mind of other leaders in the industry and share this on this podcast is phenomenal. I mean, I really am so impressed. I've been actually plugging into some of your episodes, and man, so insightful. Because one thing that you have actually that I love is what it's like out in the street. What it's like to build up a mortgage company. What it's like to be out there, and you have all the wounds. Where all the bodies are buried, and it's something that has definitely it's helped this show greatly. I believe.
Thank you, Andrew. So we like to start the show with just a quick icebreaker. And it's something that everybody does. So what is your daily morning routine? How do you start your day?
Okay, so 4 o'clock in the morning, alarm goes off, go inside, wake up. Basically, it's 4 o'clock. I go meditate. Right off the bat, meditate, then quick workout. There's a later workout later on the day, but there's like a 5-minute quick workout just to get the blood pumping, do some reading. I got a little bit of a journal, just write in a journal, and just, and this might sound corny, but something that really helps me every day. I look in the mirror, I just kind of give thanks, and basically have a conversation with myself and remind myself, of the things that are important to me, and the things I want to get done for that day. And that just kind of sets the path. I mean, it's something that I've done little bits of these things for a lot of my life, but this practice of doing this has ramped up, I would say, over like the last 2 years, and it helps me have a day with purpose. It helps me have a day where I'm controlling the day. As I start off the day, actually, with just this great mindset. No matter what happens to me, it's difficult to get me off that great, strong mindset.
Man, that sounds like a winning morning routine right there. I mean, it's pretty regimented. Journaling, working out, meditation, prayer, a motivational boost for yourself. That's pretty legit. And this is why I love to ask that question, because anytime I speak with the founder, everyone's got a great morning routine and everyone's got some sort of insight I personally like to always, learn from. So
what's your morning routine like?
My morning routine is I wake up, I have to do a bunch of chores. I got to put away all the dishes for the kids. But while I'm doing that, I'm doing some red light. So I like to do things concurrently. I do the dishes, red light therapy concurrently, and then I do a stretching routine. I use an app called Pliability.
Oh, okay.
And then we get the kids ready. We get them off to school, and then I do a workout. So and that's every single day. I try to fit in some prayer time as well. This is why I asked this. Like, I had a 5-minute gratitude journal that I was doing, and then I fall off the bandwagon. I have to continually remind myself that I need to reincorporate.
It's so great. We have so much to be thankful for.
Yeah.
You have so much to be thankful for.
So much to be thankful for.
And it's amazing. You've got a healthy family, a healthy, beautiful family. Got a great business that's just growing. I mean, there's so much in this world to be thankful for. I mean, and forget about all that. Even if we just walk and we have the sun shining at us,
to be alive.
Yeah,
you're
just
thankful.
To be alive is a miracle. I mean, there's so many things. First off, to just be born, that in itself is a miracle.
Yeah.
And then actually, then you've made it actually, to our 40s here. You're in the early part. I'm in the end of my 40s. But like the fact actually is that there have been so many things that have happened that could have actually turned a different way. And thank God we're actually doing all the right things.
Got healthy kids. They're aspiring to be good people, and that's all we want as parents, right? Be good role models for our kids. So you got a fascinating story how you got started in the mortgage industry. I know you have a lineage in this space. So let's talk a little bit about that. What year did you start in the mortgage industry?
All right. So my dad was a mortgage broker going in, and this is like in the 80s. He was a broker. And in the 90s, I started getting involved in this mortgage company. I was an originator technically at 17 when I was legally not allowed to sign documents. But, back then there was no rules. You charged what you wanted to, did whatever you wanted to. And it was, which is not a great time, I think, actually, for a lot of people. But in the mortgage business, what I loved about it is the work that we were doing was great. I mean, you saw the fruits of our labor. But I felt actually that there was something bigger for me. I felt actually that the ability to kind of inspire people to have mortgages, to kind of help our originators, write mortgages. I had a better calling for that. So I started working on the marketing in the mortgage company, and then we just as a side hustle, was at the end of a refi boom, we just started publishing a magazine for the New York mortgage professionals, New York mortgage brokers. And it was a little side business that we did. And I'm like, whoa, hold on for a second. So rather than actually, just helping actually a handful of our originators, we had 2 originators at the time, we can, inspire tens of thousands of brokers. Well, at that, it was thousands of brokers, to help them close more loans. And we just started publishing these magazines and started taking this approach, say, hey, something, that we're not going to just do this in New York. We're going to take this and we're going to do this to all these other states. And we became the official magazine for mortgage brokers in the Mortgage Broker Association in 37 states. And we had about 270,000 people that were reading our publication, and it was the publication for mortgage brokers. So if you were the mortgage broker, in the 2000s, you were reading our publication. You were going to our events. We had these big events where it had actually one of our biggest was of course in Irvine, where we had 3,000 people showing up for it. Melville, which we had 5,500 people showing up for it. But that was actually our, the publication that we started. And then in 2008, things went a different way. And we saw actually the mortgage broker got their teeth kicked in. They were basically made a scapegoat for the great financial crisis. And from that, we saw actually a change in the market. We said, but there's something that was happening in 2009 or 2008 that we said, hey, there's still some great originators that are still cranking out loans. And that's when we created a new model, National Mortgage Professional. And that's what you see today. NMP is National Mortgage Professional Magazine. That's what you were on the cover of, where we basically said there were people actually through the 2000s and today that always figured out a way to not focus on the negativity, not focus on all the bad stuff, because there's so much bad stuff that you could focus on, and just focus on how do we help people? What do we do to kind of continue to drive loans?
I love that. And I love that you built the company during the greatest pitfall in the mortgage industry. But one thing that's number one, it's very inspiring. But number two, this is what people would say you were crazy to do. But why were you crazy enough to start a company in the middle of the greatest recession in history?
It's the people like during that time, and it was a dark time. I mean, to see, I mean, we had $1 million in bankruptcy clawbacks where, companies were going out of business and the bankruptcy courts were coming after us and say, hey, the money that these companies paid you, you need to pay back. And that was a difficult thing, but you saw actually, and there were loans that were just bad. You just looked at these and like, what were we doing? I mean, why as an industry were we embracing some of these loan types? And there's a lot of things that we could be negative about, but there were some great people that were still cranking out loans. There were some great people that had some great strategies, and we built a model based on that. And part of that actually was this group, Mortgage Revolution. There was a handful of these guys that got together, created an event called Mortgage Revolution. And that Mortgage Revolution just kind of opened my eyes and kind of inspired me, to kind of grow and focus on people that were kicking butt. They were doing great things, doing great business in 2009, and didn't make a difference what was happening with the rest of the market.
I love that. One thing I really admire about what you do, and you're always on. It's like you got this crazy work ethic, and you're always grinding. You got some new idea. You're putting on. You're publishing the magazine. You're doing the events. You're networking with all the biggest leaders in the space. You got. I think you got two other businesses that as well. And we won't talk about those other companies that you have. You have a couple other companies. Your work ethic is like next level. What do you think is the driver for your work ethic?
So at the end of the day, I just like helping people. I mean, it's whatever it is. I like helping people, and that usually starts with having conversations with people. And all of the businesses that I'm involved in, it's all based on conversations. Like understanding actually what's going on inside your head, how I could help you, grow your business, how I could help you, do the things that you're looking to do. And that's basically it. So helping people, it just starts with having conversations. I love having conversations. And that's why I just came up with this title of engagement and outreach, because the more you engage with people, the more you're going to be able to help them find out what they need and be able to serve them. And for with NMP, it's working with our clients on helping them, figure out what they need, to do to connect with more mortgage professionals out there. Bring whether it's mortgage brokers that are being sought by wholesale lenders or the tech vendors out there that are trying to connect with more mortgage professionals. But like what is it about their solutions that they feel that can help the mortgage professionals? And this is what I love doing.
I love that. So being of service is your primary catalyst to really starting NMP.
100%. That's it. That's whatever I do. Actually, whether it's things in my community, whether it's things I've done in my synagogue, it is always actually just what can I do? How can I help? I have a difficult time saying no to people, which is probably one of the things that is one of my biggest flaws. But if someone needs help, how do I say no?
Yeah, you guys just got done celebrating Passover, so just blessed Passover feast to you.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about some of the challenges that you faced with NMP the early challenges. So talk about when you started NMP magazine. What do you think some of the biggest challenges were for you? Or do you want to go back before NMP and then we'll kind of
Well, you know something, because I'd say before NMP, I mean, just every month was just better than the previous month. Like we couldn't do anything wrong. Like, and when we started in '94, we just grew and grew and grew and grew. So I mean, there was no challenges, and I feel like there was no challenges. Obviously, there were challenges, but I probably glorify just thinking about all the positive things that happened. Because I mean, challenges, you have day-to-day challenges, things that fail, but I mean, you fail, you know not to do that again. You fail, actually, you learn from that, and how do we make it better? How do we make sure you don't? But I'd say actually my biggest challenge was probably in building up something from nothing. When we had to shut down the mortgage press and really actually create this new engine that would fit the new mortgage professional. I mean, that was somewhat difficult and inspiring, actually, and a team of people actually who were battered. I mean, all we did is just covered actually, the foreclosures, and even just like, I'm just thinking about this when we created National Mortgage Professional Magazine. So we wanted to put together a list of wholesale lenders. The name of the list was "Who's Left in Wholesale." That was it. There was only a handful of companies. This is one of those companies. I mean, today is dominating. I mean, UWM. I mean, you think about this in 2008. I mean, they really actually just said, "All right, we see actually a great opportunity." 2009. I always love this. I think of we did an interview with Matt Ishbia, and in 2009. Matt said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing here. He said, "We believe that the best option for home buyers is the mortgage broker." We interviewed him
he still says that.
Oh yeah, no.
That's still like a tagline.
The only thing that's changed on that, 2009, he said it with much greater conviction, saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, but we know the best place for borrowers to get their mortgages through the mortgage broker.
And now that's supported by HMDA data. Like, hey, it's $9,400 cheaper to go through a mortgage broker. That is a statistical fact.
And the other thing I also love about, and this is actually, we're going into a different direction, but talk about my love for the broker, because my dad is a broker. I believe actually in the broker model because, something, the brokers are better, phrase kind of gets me a little weird because I feel like it's too much focused on actually a business model. But one thing that's undeniable, mortgage brokers are better for our communities. Mortgage brokers, because when you have a mortgage broker, the money's being kept in our communities. Money's going to support, local little leagues. Money's going to support, higher people locally. It's being spent locally in local businesses. So I think that is an undeniable fact, actually, that mortgage brokers are better for our communities. And in most cases, they're going to be better for borrowers. Whenever people ask me, where they should be getting their mortgage from, my personal friends, I'm introducing them to mortgage brokers.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact. Now, you have such a solid, grounded lifestyle, and you were inspired by your father to enter the mortgage space.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that your children are going to be inspired to enter the mortgage space?
Probably not, but then later on, you never know. Like most people that go into the mortgage business, whose parents were in the mortgage business, never intend to be in the mortgage business. I mean, if you think about this, like most of the people that I know, at least, that have been in the mortgage business, they went on and they did other things, and they came back because they're like, hey, something? It's such a great business. I still think it's a great business. So and I'm going to turn this on you because that's my feeling. I don't think my kids are right now. They're not looking at the mortgage business. Well, one actually is destined for college. She wants to do child psychology. The other one, she just wants to be an influencer. So, what about you? Do you think actually your kids are going to be destined for the mortgage business?
For me, I love that because you do podcasts too. So we have this like reciprocated podcast going on here.
I only want to ask questions, not answer them.
For me, because I'm Egyptian, and in my heritage, your parents always want you to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Now I would like my kids to go down that route. I would like them to be doctors, and the reason why is because I know the struggle of when you start in the mortgage space. I know how much I had to work. I know how much I had to get denied. I know how thick a skin I had to have to just prepare. I still get denied all the time. If you watch my content right now, it's very bold, and I'm always being denied, but I have such thick skin that I'm so good at just getting rejected.
Yep.
So I don't know if I want my kids to suffer through that.
It's character.
It does.
Failures. I mean, it's.
I mean, like failure does build character. It's just hard to watch your kids fail.
I know, but you know something. I believe me. I know. I wrestle with this all the time. And I'm always like, I say to my wife, I'm the one. And well, maybe we should just let him do this.
But if your kid wants to be an influencer, all that is the only way to be an influencer is to get rejected all the time, because influencers are the ones who do the content that no one's willing to do.
I mean, so you have what 1,000 originators that work for you right now?
Yeah, about 900-ish.
Okay, so. How many people have told you no to get that 1,000? Like you probably
that's always
20,000 originators. Probably even more to actually join your team to get to that 1,000 people to have the kind of production you have.
Yep, that's right. But now, thankfully, because of social media and having such a big brand, it's a lot easier, and I don't have to be doing the recruiting anymore. I continue just to build the brand and make it like the Pepsi of the mortgage space. So people are like, I want to drink Pepsi. Or, their kids know me, so they're like, I want to go work there.
Coke of the morning.
Yeah. Or the Coke, yeah. So it's getting a little easier. But, it's funny to talk about, do we want our kids to enter the mortgage space? And, that was actually my next question. It's like, what trends do you foresee in the mortgage industry on your side? Because I see, AI doing a lot of this and wiping out a lot of originators, because we're doing it now with AI.
Well, so here's the thing, and listen, right now, financially, it might not be the best time to buy. Like if you were looking actually at buying a home from just a financial case, there are many cases where home ownership doesn't hold water. However, emotionally, it does in so many cases.
Yeah.
If you want to stay in the same community, if you want to actually have your kids go to the same school, if you want to be able to control your community and not be, based on, what's going to happen with what your landlord wants to do with that piece of property. So if you want control, it's based on, home ownership. And I don't know actually how AI, at least in the foreseeable future, will be able to have that feeling that
it's not going to get AI is replacing a lot of the marketing efforts for originators. It's replacing a lot of the monotony of going through the application. What AI can never ever do is replace the relationship. The human relationship, exactly.
It's right here.
So what originators are going to have to get good at, which they have lost that skill set, is this. Because what COVID did, the worst part about COVID is it took humanity away, and it turned into a digital world, right? So that's why I refuse. We've done 30 podcast episodes. I've refused until I get, I don't know, I'd have to interview like, Donald Trump or something, but I've refused to do any podcast over StreamYard or over Zoom, because the human connection is everything. Yeah. And like we were talking about earlier, like if I sit with you for 1 hour and I have a cadence of questions of 20 questions I'm going to talk to you about, like we basically just had the best date you can ever have. Like we just hit it off. Like no, think about it. Like if you sat with your wife right now and did this, how much better of a relationship would you have in just in a 1 hour podcast?
My goodness, yeah. But people should be doing that.
Yeah.
It's 100%. Like, so one of the things, like I do, and with my wife, we take walks. We've
talked about this, you and I, the talks you and your wife take, the walks you and your wife take.
Yeah, because we equate it to like this podcast. I mean, this is something, because I whether actually you do it actually as a mic in front of you or take walks, but like I think actually that's something that is an important thing. I'm curious. So you and Sam, do you guys like have conversations where have you had the opportunity, because you guys are obviously talking to each other, communicating with each other, but and spending time, but do you have conversations like this?
We do our lunches. We do it, and then we just had one yesterday, and then I took him over, and then after that we extended the lunch and we drove down to the Travis Matthews headquarters and did a but it is imperative for our business relationship, even though we've been friends for 3 decades, as business partners, to have these luncheons at least weekly, even though we're buried back-to-back meetings all the time. To have a meeting where we just, there's some business elements to it, but then it's like, hey, like let's remember we're friends and have the, but one thing, and I've been meaning to do this with my wife and my business partner, is have this podcast with them. Because I feel like it's just going to...
Oh, my goodness. I can't wait. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm going to have a podcast. I'm going to do a podcast with my wife. I'm going to do a podcast with my business partner. And the one I'm really going to do a podcast, I really want to do a podcast with, is my mom.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Jay Duran is like a guy who's been inspirational to me. He focuses on culture.
Jay Shetty, you mean?
No, Jay Duran.
Okay, Jay Shetty. Also, he's the one who gave me the idea. He's one of the biggest podcasters, and he did a podcast with his mom.
Well, so Jay Duran had actually his mom on, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, especially if you understand a lot about the podcaster. So your mom being on here, oh my goodness, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
When are we making this happen?
It's on. They're going to be guests. I got to figure.
Please schedule this, please.
Oh, it's Mother's Day. Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I got it. You know what? Because just to like, I can honestly say I don't have super deep conversations with my mom. And I think that your parents are owed that. But do you, as kids, do we do that with our parents? Like, do we go, hey, so what's your goals? Like, what do you, like,
it's like it's transactional. It's like,
it's very transactional. It's, it's not fair. It's really not fair. So
when was the last time you like went out to dinner with your mom, or just
we not me and her, but my mom is always, she always cooks. She's amazing. She's Greek and Egyptian. So the food is, a big part of our culture.
Oh, yeah,
she's like an incredible cook, and my kids all know that. And, I don't get to go on dates with my mom like I'd like to. Right. But it needs to be more on the radar. And being so busy now, my wife wants a date. My daughter wants a date. My 2 boys want daddy Sundays. It's like everybody wants a separate day, and I have 0 time to begin with. Like,
how much do you sleep?
About 6 hours a day, 5 to 6 hours comfortably.
Yeah, that's good.
I do 10 p.m. to 4:30 a.m.
Is that like 10 p.m. hard? Like
yeah, it's lights out.
You're again.
I got to get to bed.
Yeah,
because I also have toddlers. They'll be up at 5 anyway. So if I'm not going to bed by 10, I'm not going to sleep.
Oh
yeah. So what do you think? What do you foresee in the mortgage industry? Being, because you do what I do. You talk to a lot of industry professionals. Like, any trends you're seeing on the horizon?
I mean, sadly, I think we have a lot more pain to go through. I think as an industry overall, we have a lot more pain. I don't think, well, everyone's agreeing pretty much that we're not going to see rates come down this year.
That's pretty unanimous now.
It's
Federal Reserve has no intention.
No, it's listen. I mean, the the biggest indicators showing actually it's not happening. I personally don't think I think actually we need to see more
bloodshed.
More bloodshed. We need to see, the employment change significantly. So, I mean, we're talking maybe end of next year, middle of next year, and right now, so many lenders, mortgage bankers, they're not running on fumes. They're out of the car, pushing the car. They're in some cases injecting their own capital to keep their businesses floating. And we see actually acquisitions all the time. There's no such thing as a merger. You're basically getting acquired as a merger that's basically just making you feel better about that merger. So I think we're going to see a lot more blood on the streets. But on the other side is the broker is just doing phenomenal. I mean, every story that I know of people winning are brokers. Brokers actually just in this great place because as brokers, first off, we have this variable cost model, where really actually you don't necessarily. Yes, I know we have big, beautiful, giant office space here, but you're empowering almost 1,000 originators. But
they're brokers. I mean, like when you think about, you're talking about brokers have a variable cost model. Most of the people that work at eMortgage Capital brokers. They were former broker owners. So you talk about variable. If they come to EMC, they get a multi-million-dollar monthly ecosystem. Variable. Variable. You pay $0 for it. You pay a tiny percentage of your gross revenue. So we see here people thriving. Same with all the other top mortgage companies, and that's why there's like 6, 7 of us kind of controlling the narrative of the industry. Because we're able to empower small brokers to survive in a declining environment. So that's why you're obviously collaborating with all these big mega brokers because we're positioned and poised to survive the headwinds coming.
Yeah, and the thing that I love about the mega brokers, because listen, I mean, I look at you guys are, it's not just broker, you guys are also about banking options too.
Yeah,
you have the ability to, so you're this hybrid model. So I kind of classify it as these mega brokers. But what you guys do that was not around until recently. I'm talking about like the last 5 years, was bringing distributed retail resources to the broker model. And that's the game changer for so many originators out there that want to embrace the broker model. But
I think we have a better tech stack than any retail originator out there. I mean, our technology is bar none, especially the relationships we have, because I've figured out a way to strategically empower my vendor relationships, my technology partners, and that thus they'll just reciprocate it back to our company.
Well, you know something? Then I'm going to invite you to Vegas in August to actually compete for a best tech stack. Oh, would you accept that invitation?
Sure, let's do it.
Oh yes.
Well, I mean, by August, no, I'm not. No one's going to be able to compete with me. I'm telling
something? I have to. He shared some stuff with me. That might be the case.
Yeah. There's no way because I'm integrating a massive marketing ecosystem and empowering our vendors through it. So it's like they want to work and collaborate with us just because I'm going to give them a platform they didn't have. And me, I'm willing to invest. I'm willing to go all in on marketing and branding. I'm willing to just invest millions into marketing and branding and continue to, because right now what's happening is a massive snowball for our brand. So I'll just continue to invest in our company brand, my personal branding, and the Coffeez for Closers branding. I have 3 companies I'm branding to build and just drive traffic. So
when did that shift happen? Like when did you?
This year.
Was there?
I pivoted from recruiting full time and originating full time to now I originate because it's on autopilot. I take a call, I pass it off to the team, and it's like I'm done. And then so I have I have a massive book of business, so I don't have to do a lot of legwork on my personal originations. I do have to take, like today I was dealing with some fuming escrow calls, and I have to do that like while I had to cremate a cat.
We're on the cover of NMP.
Yeah,
because you're still dealing with, at a loan level as well as dealing with the entire.
Well, switching calls between that and then like the cremation company, and then sadly my cat had to passed away. So we had to deal with that today, and then I'm messaging you to film this episode. So I'm a really good multitasker, but this year, 2024, I pivoted from because recruiting was just consuming me. It would be like call every 30 minutes, and I had to
saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's like
you're saying the same.
I was a robot. So I had a good friend of mine, Sean. Now he's VP of Strategic Partnerships. He sat in on a couple calls. Like, I'll just do that for you. and he counts. He's like, I've saved you 655 hours of time. So what did I do? I was like, I'm gonna create this show. I'm gonna do these podcasts, and then I want to be the biggest brand on social media in the mortgage industry. And I was able to accomplish both of those. This year in a very, very short period of time. Now I have the biggest following on social media in the mortgage space. The show is growing like enormously. So everyone's watching it in the space, and then people outside of the mortgage space are watching it because, we're going after. We interview different tech entrepreneurs and real estate, publicly traded companies, founders, and so it's all founders of different verticals. So the audience is growing, and we're on every platform: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. So when we aggregate the viewership, it's in the hundreds of thousands, right?
Millions. I just saw some of your followers. You put all your accounts together.
Yeah, well, we have millions.
Coffeez closers. Your personal. I mean, this is.
Yes, we have millions of followers. Yeah. Millions of followers across all platforms. So
when you fart, millions of people will know about it. This is it.
Yeah. So that was an initiative I went heavy after this year. And it came with a lot of backlash because I went heavy on investing, and I want to be on every platform. So people are like, I want to be on just Facebook, or I want to be on Instagram. Like, no, I want to be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Snapchat,
MySpace.
Twitch, Kick. We haven't launched MySpace yet. I'm looking at that just because it's more of a music platform. But I even think about because we're on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes, we're on
really,
we're on we're on WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp media page. We have I think 20 plus platforms that we're on, and I'm looking and I don't ask you or where should I be. I ask your kids, like, what are you listening to? Yeah. That's why I'm on Twitch, and I'm on Discord, and I'm on.
They have my loyalties. I don't even know. my kids, they don't. They have no clue. And
so we're streaming on Twitch right now. We're streaming on Kick right now.
That's great.
And we're streaming on. So we try to aggregate every platform wherever there's eyeballs, and not just eyeballs. Like my 10-year-old daughter's like, I listen to your podcast. It's boring. I don't really like it. I'm like, you're 10. You're not supposed to like it. It's not supposed to be fun for you. I get it. The content doesn't relate, but your friends' parents like it, and you knew about it because it somehow filtered down to you.
So, you got to just cut it up. And they like the micro content.
Yeah, they like the
episode. There's probably like 4 or 5 seconds that our 10-year-olds would love.
Yeah, exactly. So as soon as I could figure out how to make this podcast relative for 10-year-olds, then I'm really winning.
Yeah. Then talking about 10-year-olds, like this right here. Yeah. This is when you're talking about your daughter. The 10 seconds. This is the most interesting thing. They'll if you send this to them, they'll be interested in that.
This was cool, Dad. And then I have to put Taylor Swift over it. I got to do a Taylor Swift overlay. But
I mean, come on, why not, man? She is good, man.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. I mean, the Michael Jackson of the generation, I guess. So, but if I we need to add some Taylor Swift music and overlays on some of these podcasts. Yeah. They'll go viral.
Now it's Olivia Rodrigo is the new Taylor Swift.
See?
My daughters have been exposing me to this. It's good, man. I'm singing her songs, man. She's taking over. I'm now becoming not a Swiftie Rodrigo-y. I don't know what they call them, but it's good. It's good stuff.
I love that. Actually, since we're on the topic of kids, I like to always talk about family on this show. How are you keeping your kids grounded and sustaining that grit mentality that you have?
I don't know. I don't know how, but somehow they're picking it up. I mean, like my daughter. So child psychology. She's found her path, in this world. And she does babysitting, but babysitting specifically, looks for families that have emotional needs.
Is she in town with you, by the way, just in case I need one for the next couple of days?
No, but she'll gladly actually come to Southern California anytime. And she's just constantly working. Like, so if she's not working on her schoolwork, she's at home reading or babysitting as much as she possibly can.
They make big bucks now, $30, $40 an hour. These kids.
Yeah, she's and this is the battle I have with her. She'll take actually anyone. Like she'll
do it for 20.
She feels bad. She's like, no, ask for more. She's like, but no, they can't afford it. I'm like, trust me, they can afford it.
Go to care.com and that's the rate that you charge. Whatever Care is charging, that's your hourly rate.
Yeah. And then because actually like she's had so much invested into her career, and it's amazing to know that my 16-year-old daughter has a career and knows what she wants to do with herself and is just constantly hustling to actually do whatever she can to kind of advance herself. And she just doesn't rest. She doesn't rest. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
And I don't think I've never really talked to her about it. I don't think I've really encouraged her to do this. I think she's just following, just sees actually me constantly working, constantly doing things. Because if I'm not working, doing things I could for a business or with my wife, I'm spending time with them. I have this thing like the daddy-daughter crew. And for years and years, I would post actually everywhere we would go. It would be daddy-daughter crew. But like I would spend lots of time. Now, actually, as they get older, like, Dad, do you have to post photos of us everywhere we go? So now I'm a little more private about their time, but they love spending time with me. And they know actually that my two favorite things, or three favorite things, I guess, is spending time with them, working, and spending time with my wife.
That's awesome. That's awesome that's awesome that they're picking up that momentum from you, that drive from you. I was actually giving props to my 10-year-old daughter because she went from school, a full school day, then she went to private dance lessons, then she went to a dance class, then she went to horseback riding, then she went to do her homework, and she basically worked an 8 to 7 job. I mean, that's that's
awesome.
She just grinded through all that. So they tend to pick up like the grit. I'm like, you're just like your dad, very ADD, need something to do all day long. You need to be always like productive, So I was able to acknowledge that and just give her props. She didn't care about my props, but
No, they don't do. They never do.
So do you think there's a specific skill or a mindset that one must have to be successful right now in the mortgage industry?
So something actually, Jeremy Forsyth said this, and I just like it's stuck in my head, and I started realizing, everyone I know who's succeeding, has kind of followed this, and it's trying to remember, it's standards over feelings, where you don't go away from the things that have made you successful. So if you know actually that it takes you 20 calls a week to be able to deliver the kind of production you used to produce, you don't actually step away from that. You don't actually you make sure you have those same standards, and you just got to focus. And there's so much things to focus on, so much negativity, so much controversy in the mortgage space that can really just take your energy away, but it's basically just staying focused and continuously executing a plan, and really, so that's it, man. A plan is because and I say this all the time, and this is one thing I do talk to my kids about. A failure to plan is a plan to fail. I mean, it's just simple as that. If you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up there. But if you have a destination and you think about actually, making sure that you're doing the things to get to that destination, and making sure you enjoy the journey, whether it sucks, whether it's great, just know actually that, you're doing it to accomplish whatever you're accomplishing, whether it's working out, whatever it is.
I love that. It actually ties into my next question because you've been successful for so many years. I mean, you started doing this in the 90s. Then you took off with NMP magazine. Now you did the big acquisition for Ambiz. Now, after years and years and years of success, you don't really need to do this anymore. You could step back and just, relax. You could step back and not work. Given the success you've had over all these years, how do you continue to find motivation to grind every day like you do?
I mean, I just, to me, there's no other mode. Like, what am I going to do? I love having the ability to have conversations with people that fascinate me. I love helping people grow their business. I love actually, I love doing what I do. I also have actually, two girls that want to go to private colleges and probably are going to want big giant weddings. And I want actually to have, the kind of actually, lifestyle that my wife could have actually, and I could have actually when they do that, where we don't have to think about actually, watching bills or anything like that. So it's important so that we can continue to grow our lifestyle, continue to do better, continue to do things, be able to actually to have not only that, but to create a great legacy for my grandchildren. So there's just there's either two modes. There's slow down or speed up. I'm not going to slow down. And speed up and just continue to grow just only means that I'm just going to create a legacy for myself, create a legacy for my grandchildren. Because listen, I mean, I don't know my great grandparents' names, and that's unfortunate. I'm really actually sad that I had to actually do a family tree to actually figure out who they are. I want my great grandchildren to know who I am because I set them on a path, and that actually doesn't actually happen from slowing down at any point in life.
I love that. You're always grinding, and you want to build a massive legacy. I love that. Andrew. You're even inspiring me to level up. Right. I got a couple last questions about you now. Well, let's actually talk about, before I get into my last questions, there's so much talent at AmBiz and at NMP. How are you continuing to foster talent there?
So, and that's one thing I have to say. So our CEO, Vince Valvo, has made some hires that I'm just like, I don't understand. Why would you hire them? And they turn out to be these amazing people. Like the staff that we have at AmBiz right now, well, they don't have mortgage experience. They don't have business experience, but they've turned out to be these amazing people that have actually embraced the mortgage business and have found actually, the greatness that is the mortgage business and the power of what we do in the mortgage business. So I give Vince credit for that because I've never been great at hiring. I look at everything. I have one great hire, and that great hire actually is a person actually that kind of helped facilitate the acquisition of NMP into AmBiz. So I would say that it's not something that I would necessarily say that I've mastered, but I've been fortunate to work with some great people that have mastered how you hire great talent.
Vince is a great partner for you. He seems to be the yin to your yang. Being able to just kind of close the gap. That's the part that any good company has a great partner like that.
Yeah, listen, no question about it, Vince. I've learned so much off the guy, and he continues to guide our organization in great ways, and it allows me to kind of focus on connecting with great people, helping to share their story.
Excellent. Okay, so one last question I have for you. So it's a 3-pronged question. Okay. What is a personal goal that you have for yourself? What is a business goal that you have for AmBiz Media and NMP Magazine? And what is a family goal that you have for the family?
Okay. All right. Let me remember this. So we got family goal, we got AmBiz goal, and personal goal.
That's right.
Okay. So and the personal goal is for my wife and I to traverse the entire country from all the way up to Maine, all the way down the East Coast, go across the country, and go up to go all the way up to California in a van.
Awesome.
Just that's to me just her and I. Maybe our dogs if they're around, but basically this is a personal goal for me. That's so obviously in that case, our daughters will need to be out of the home, ideally on their way with careers, and be well on their way for us to be able to know that we don't need to be there physically and emotionally for them. So that's I'd say as a personal goal, actually that I have with my wife, and then so going on to Ambiz, I really actually would have to say it's just I don't necessarily. I mean, obviously I have financial markers where I want to actually to see our revenue grow. But to me, it's just about continuing to influence and continuing to help originators grow their career. So today we're doing this thing called Build a Broker. Build a Broker. We've had actually as a platform, and people have come to this Build a Broker session, and they've learned how to set up their own mortgage brokerage. And from that, I've seen people come back to them and actually be like mentors, helping other brokers to say, hey, this is what I did. I went to Build a Broker. I learned this, and I created my brokerage. So it's
what you should add to Build a Broker? I just thought of this right now. Is like a panel of like me, Mike, Twan, just another panel for hey, and here's the mega brokers, like, and see what they have, and just like open discussion dialogue. Me and Mike were gonna do a road show and actually talk about like the big broker shops. Me, Mike, Tom, Ollis, and like just to inspire other brokers. Like, so there's the Build a Broker option, because me and you talked about this, like, but it's gonna cost you $3-4 grand a month. And you got to do everything on your own, or you could just tap into Mike or Tom or Twan. Like we're all, but by the way, we're all friends, right? Everyone thinks we're all like fighting, and like,
no.
Like we're all like we're buddies, right? They're all gonna. Mike should be on the show tomorrow, like
I know you because Mike introduced.
Exactly.
Said, you have to meet Joe.
Yeah. So there should be a separate panel for the so people have options, because sometimes it's daunting to like I got to go do all this and like. Forget it. What are you going to do when you get your first state audit? Now, did you mention that now audits are multi-state? They're very extensive. So, I had like 4 people here working on it. Then they sent 4 people down to, the auditors here to our office.
It's scary.
And it cost us like 60 grand.
Yeah.
Like, what's a broker going to do when he's out of commission to work for 3 weeks and he's got to flip a bill for 60 grand? So those are all new, because that's how they're trying to facilitate more revenue, right? They're sending them here to just sit in our office at $80 an hour.
And to your point, and there's a lot of originators who think they want to be owners, but really are better as originators focusing on actually the origination of the business, and don't need to actually have to hassle with call reports. They don't even have to manage relationships with investors.
Because we've done a bad job educating the community in terms of like, because a mortgage company doesn't really have value. Like, it's not like you could go and sell it. No, it's not like we're not a tech company. There's no like real, like, the value is the originator. 100%. The value is their business. So we just have to change. I think you should have a Build a Broker and like a panel, and then we just talk about our businesses and how we can help them. So they just get options like, oh, I like Twan, or like Tom Ollis says, and he was on the show, and we like to look at us mega brokers as F1 race cars. Like, we're all supercars.
Yeah,
like, which driver do you want? You want Lewis Hamilton? You want this guy, or you want this guy?
And that's what it's about. It's about the driver. It's not the
so
car.
like
listen, I could get in that car and I might potentially crash it. But you take I don't know the drivers' names, but you take someone who is a seasoned driver and you put them in that same car that I would be crashing into a wall. Well, they're gonna get
exactly. So like I love every one of the mega brokers. I think we're all incredibly gifted, talented people. We have a advantage over everybody because we've rode many cycles of the mortgage cycle. We've all been mega producers, so and now we're in this position where everyone's declining. So I just think it would be good for you guys to have an additional panel for the big shops to come in and say, hey, if you want to go this route, go this route. We go be a broker.
I love it.
But like because me and Mike are gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
So just like piggybacking on that with you would be like, we'll just add it to our roadshow anyway. Mike wanted to do it. We talked about it on our AIM committee. So, something, you could kick that idea around. We'll talk about it at dinner or something.
Yep. Sounds like a
plan. And then your family goal.
So my family goal, I mean, and that's something that I'd say is more on my family, like, because like I can't determine what I want to have actually with with my daughters. I want them to have the ability to choose the path that they want. Now, our goal is actually always make sure that we have a home that's going to be embracing, that they're going to want to actually bring, that they're going to want to come back, they're going to bring their children back. I mean, that's that's the bare minimum. But at the end of the day, it's just supporting them to do whatever they want to do. Knowing actually that they know actually that they can go out there and they can try what they want to do. If they fail, they can come back. We'll always actually be there for them to support them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And one last question. I like to end every podcast with this question.
Worried about this one.
When you're in front of the pearly gates, what do you think God's going to tell you?
Okay, so I hope he doesn't show some footage. That's going to be awkward. But listen, I think overall, it's going to know actually the spirit of all my actions. It's going to know actually what I've done. And while I've certainly made lots of mistakes, certainly there have been plenty of judgment calls that maybe weren't the best at the time. But the spirit of what I've done has always been trying to do right by people, trying to help people, and I believe actually overall, I've done a lot more helping people than harm, and I believe actually I will be looked at, and I believe that was what I'll get the pass and not the exit to the bottom.
There we go. I love the answer. God bless you. God bless your family. Thank you for coming on the show. Coffeez for Closers, guys. The legendary Andrew Berman, king of the mortgage magazine business for the entire globe. Thank you, Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
We appreciate you. And Originator Connect 2024.